And I tell you what, there ain't nobody bigger than me. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's the Tall Podcast, and you're listening to the Tall Podcast, and this is your host with the most. This is the Tall Rider coming at you. Oh my God, on this Monday evening, bro, because I missed. You know what? Let me just start from the beginning. All right, everybody. I just came back from a trip down to Amsterdam, like as the locals call it. Um, and I had no way of recording the podcast while I was in Amsterdam on Sunday. I'll stop doing that, by the way. So the podcast is late. This is the first late podcast, but there is a reason behind it. I wasn't just being lazy or whatever. There was just, there's just no time. There is just no time while you're in. Oh my God, in that city. Jesus Christ! All right. So listen, I won't rant, for too long about Amsterdam and how fucked up we got, and just just the amount of devilish behavior that you could be doing there. So I'll keep it relatively short, right? Because I know that hearing about someone else's trip to Amsterdam is that's not premium content. Let's just say that, all right? So I'll just condense it to the primo to the primo adventures, right? So everyone is incredibly nice, right? I literally saw like a guy almost get hit by a motorcycle, and the guy was on a bike, of course, right? It's Amsterdam. So he almost gets hit by this motorcycle, right? They almost both fall over, right? Just barely, able to stop. And, they just laughed about it and just kind of said, have a nice day, and just went on their business, right? So that was a pretty eye-opening experience, That was, coming from the cold and harsh Eastern Europe, and just seeing people act civilized for once was really cool. I mean, the entire city looks like from a fairy tale. I mean, it looks like New York with like canals running, instead of the streets. It's insane. The amount of I have no idea. The just the fairy tale like architecture, right, and just the surroundings alone are just like, I was walking around looking at everything just like completely out of my mind, right? But I was just looking at how beautiful everything was, and I just kept thinking, like, what is their problem? What is where is the issue, right? How many layers do I have to peel off to actually find the issues in this city? And I just couldn't really grasp it, because I just had like 4 days there. But oh my lord, I mean, it's really just so idyllic, just like from a movie, like literally from a Christmas movie. And the big windows, the families inside the windows serving everyone something delicious, and just this wholesome vibe emanating throughout the entire city. And I couldn't get, it's, what I mentioned to my friend that the perfect way to describe this, the city, is basically this wholesome Christmas vibe with hookers on the first floor, right? That is kind of the way it works out there. It's kind of like this really, I don't even know how to describe it, right? It's this what's the word? I mean, could you tell that I'm just completely out of it? there's a segue between the idyllic, fairy tale like appearance and the just the devious stuff that you could do there, right? Just like whatever you want, you can get it there, right? And if you can't get it legally, then there's someone around the corner who's gonna offer it to you illegally, right? It was so funny, right? There was this Arab guy, right, who just like kept standing next to us, right? And he was just like offering, some coke and some cocaine, right? For all you who just thought that it was Coca-Cola. So he was offering some cocaine, right? And he went like, "Hey, brother, this is the best. It's straight from Colombia. You could smell it. You could smell the quality of the cocaine." And while he's looking like the most shadiest character that you'll ever come across, right? Just standing next to us, right? Just kind of looking around, right? Just kind of trying to see. And he was like, you can come with me. You can try this, And we're just like, nah. How about we not do that and just kind of, bump into someone who's a bit less sketchy than yourself, right? So that is basically Amsterdam, right? That is basically, I really don't want to get into all the details of just how, what an utter train wreck, the trip was. I mean, it was amazing, right? It was incredible. Nothing really bad happened, but we just got so into the vibe, right, of just consuming everything that is illegal back here in Lithuania, and just kind of really showing, right, this kind of mentality of whenever something becomes available, very few people can actually deal with it in a rational way. And I mean, it was just, some of us said that it was a bit too much, right? But to me, it was the perfect amount. I mean, I was walking down the streets, and the buildings were breathing, right? They were shifting and they were breathing, and the hookers in the red light district were waving and smiling, and yeah, man, and the water was shimmering and the beer was bubbling. So I don't know. Yeah, let's just keep it at that, all right? So anyway, Amsterdam was completely different from what I expected, and just completely different, right? Just I expected it to be shit, right? But I was met with this incredible New York fairy tale, just an incredible. I mean, even if you're going there just for the museums and just to walk around, it's still worth it, right? You don't have to get fucked up like we did, and you'll still have the best. You'll still have the best time. I mean, it's really awesome. The weird thing that they do is that they, not all places accept debit cards that are like MasterCard or Visa for some reason. They have their own shit. And there were like 3 times we went into a store, we got all our shit, we came to the register, and none of our cards worked. So cash is still very much a necessity there, I would say, right? But I mean, Jesus, right? As if the 3 people, or well, let's be honest, not any of the 10 plus people who are listening to this is gonna take my advice and go to Amsterdam, right? Let's just keep it real, all right? Let's just not get too ahead of ourselves, all right? So yeah, Amsterdam, cool, recommended. Just it'll take a week for me to come back and to replenish my dopamine, serotonin levels, whatever, because Jesus Lord, I mean, just if you have the resources, you could just, it's a non-stop party basically, so yeah, yeah, got some presents, bought some stuff back here. It was epic. All right, so anyway, Amsterdam is a thumbs up, right? Just the best ranking system ever. Thumbs up or thumbs down, Adolf Hitler, thumbs down. Throwing garbage out your window, thumbs down, right? And those two things are now equally negative, right? Just a thumbs down, right? Amsterdam, thumbs up. I don't know. Discovering a new civilization on another planet, thumbs up. Are those two things comparable? Well, the thumbs up rating system says it is. I mean, that was just my long way of trying to emulate Bill Burr when he was talking about that thumbs up, thumbs down is just the worst rating system ever, right? You need to have like 5 stars or like, from 1 to 10 or something just to kind of have some context on how bad or how good something is. Okay. Yeah, something happened, man. Something big happened. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so on my flight back, right, I was listening to this podcast with this really interesting gentleman, right? And I'm gonna give you the name of him pretty soon. Let's see here. Oh Jesus, excuse me for that. Let's see what the fuck is his name. It's on the Jocko podcast, right? And it's about sleep deprivation, overcoming stress, and the darkness within. Oh no, and the darkness with Peter Attia, right? Peter Attia, Attia. So he was a resident trauma surgeon in Johns Hopkins, one of the best hospitals in the U.S. in Baltimore, right? And he kind of explains his day-to-day and what his insights were while working, as this trauma surgeon in this prestigious hospital. And it was really, really interesting. I really enjoy listening to people who just have, these very niche but very high competence positions, right? Like a trauma surgeon, right? Who just deals with trauma. And when I'm talking about Baltimore, there's a lot of gun crime, right? So there's a lot of gunshot wounds. A lot of people are dying, and it's just a really, really stressful job, right? Because you always are on call when you're working, right? You're always on call. You don't know if you can eat. You don't know if you can shave. Whenever your trauma pager goes off, you have to go into the operating room and save someone's life, right? So it's pretty intense, right? It is an intense job to have. It's incredible, right? So this guy, he talks about, and he had this one insight that was really, well, insightful. He said that one thing that he kind of understood when speaking about trauma and injuries and accidents, right? And trauma is like the worst one when it comes to relatives and friends, right? Because trauma is an accident, right? So it's like whenever you have like a terminal disease or some kind of lesser injury, there's still time for relatives and everyone around you to kind of prepare themselves and kind of get a bit more comfortable with the situation, right? That someone is dying. But when you're in trauma, right, and someone just leaves the house and gets into a car accident and dies, that is the area where it gets incredibly, incredibly difficult, right? Because someone has to call and just basically tell the relative that that one of the closest people to them has died, right? And this guy was talking about these two 15-year-olds or something, and they were out driving, and they got into a car crash, and one of them died, and the other one survived with relatively no injuries, right? And this trauma surgeon, right, is talking about how he tried his best to revive one of the boys, but it just wouldn't, it just wasn't possible. And then he said that he had to have the conversation with his mother, right, and basically tell her that ma'am, unfortunately, your son has died today, and he got it in a really bad car crash. So if you think about it, so in the morning she basically said goodbye to both of her sons, and it was just a regular day, and suddenly this just world breaking, just earth shattering news just kind of comes out of nowhere. And to deal with that is just it's one of the hardest things ever, especially right for a mother, I would imagine. So what this trauma surgeon said was that his insight was that basically whenever things like this happen, right, some kind of trauma accident, where a family member dies, it is almost guaranteed that if the family was fractured when the event happened, meaning that the husband and the wife had some relationship issues, and things weren't really that good in the household, that if the family is fractured, then that event will just shatter them all, right? And that the family will shatter, and it will break apart. And he said that if the relationship between family members is very strong, and and they have a deep emotional connection to each other, then events like that just bring the family so much more closer together into a into a tightly knit into a tightly knit family, right? So that was, I thought that was really interesting, right? And coming from someone who just deals on a daily basis with these types of events, right? So for him, the accidents and the injuries were just like part of his day job. But for the families involved, it was basically a world-changing event, right? And that is the interesting part. That is what just piques my curiosity. Oh, excuse me. That is what really piques my curiosity, right? Because it's just such a contrast, right? It's someone going to their day job, right? Just waking up in the morning and going to their day job every day for, decades. And on the other side is someone who basically, has never dealt with the situations and, just the environments ever, right? So on one hand you have this, daily practitioner. On the other hand, you have this first time. So that contrast is really interesting, and to actually hear some insights from the guy who's been doing that for decades, and just kind of seeing everything from the inside, and what his what his thoughts were on family, relationship, life, and all these difficult questions that we rarely get to truly see, right? I think that whenever like tragedies like that happen, you truly get to see, you truly peel away the layers and get to see what real raw emotion and I mean, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty depressing, man. It's pretty depressing to talk about this, because I just talked to my mom, right, and she said that that really close to her, like literally a few houses down there yesterday, a car was driving too fast and it flipped, right? And it flipped into this really small canal, right? That's just running, along the forest. And it was raining for a few days, right? So the canal was kind of filled with water, but it wasn't that deep, right? It's not like a really deep canal that you can swim in, right? It's just this kind of a runaway canal. And so the car was driving really fast and it flipped, right? It was skidding on its side and then it flipped into the canal. And so it's upside down in the canal, right? and both the passengers drowned. Right, they drowned because they were upside down in the car in the canal. The water was slowly seeping in, right, and they couldn't open the door. They couldn't do anything, right, because the car was crumpled up, and they literally just drowned, right, upside down in that car. And it's absolutely insane, right? They were both like 38 or something, and they had like 13-year-old, boys or something, and it's just, it's just, again, coming back to the shocking and just kind of world-changing effect of trauma, right? That it could just happen any time, right? And it's just really sudden. It's instant, right? There is no way to prepare, and it just comes, out of the blue, and then it just, then it all depends on the fallout and how you deal with the fallout. Like I said, the families that are fractured get completely shattered and just, dissolve, while families who are very close, they get even closer. So, Jesus Christ, I mean, this is a very heavy topic, right? Especially after coming back from Amsterdam, but it always interests me, right? It always interests me. Louis Theroux had this documentary on the edge of death, I think, something like that, right? Where he talked to people who had terminal illnesses and what their insights were, as well as the personnel at the hospital, right? What their views were. It was incredibly interesting. And Louis Theroux based that documentary on another documentary called On the Edge of Life, I think. Yeah, At the Edge of Life. Surgeons at the Edge of Life? Is it this? I don't think so. Edge of Life documentary. I think it's something like this. If you really want to watch it, just look at Louis Theroux's thing and just look at the inspiration for that. So that movie, that documentary also just deals with, car accidents and just what people do. It's a really interesting topic. It is depressing, but it's really interesting. So highly recommend that. Go watch that if you don't have anything better to do, and just kind of think about how you would behave, right, in a situation like this, and what would be, the best way to approach a tender topic like that, if it were ever, God forbid, happen to people you love. All right. So, I don't know. It's either talking about Amsterdam and just, just the I don't know, the hedonism that went on there, or talking about death and accidents and families grieving, right? So it's kind of a dark Monday for the podcast here, but you know what? Let's switch it up. Let's see here. What did I talk about? Yeah, so there's this interesting, really interesting topic called parasocial relationships, and it's basically, this is like, well, it's kind of a new thing, right? But not really. So it emerged with TikTok, and like, teenagers nowadays are developing these parasocial relationships with those TikTok dancers and everything, right? And they actually think that they are friends with that TikToker, right? And it's really, it's a really interesting look. If you look at how TikTokers communicate, the famous ones, they always say like, I love you. And, they really talk to their audience as if they're talking to one person, which is a really powerful strategy to use if you ever want to achieve that, right? But you just talk to your audience as if they're one person, and it becomes incredibly personable. And all of the people just kind of immediately think that this star is talking to me, right? Well, in reality, the star has no idea who you are, or that you're even, just they have no idea who you are, right? And it creates this, on one hand, you have these fans who just know the celebrity intimately, and on the other hand, you have the celebrity who just has no idea, who they're talking to. And oh my god, I mean, it just goes to these incredible levels, because I saw this documentary, I think it was on Vice or something, and these parents of these kids, right? They actually pick up their kids and they drive them to the location where the celebrities live, right? So those kids just hang out with their parents, at the entrance of these houses, right? And whenever they see their TikTok's, favorite star in the balcony, they just start screaming, right? And I just watched that, and I thought that these parents are just so delusional, right? And they are just, just basically really kind of ruining. I mean, well, not ruining, right? But they're really impacting the lives of their children in a negative way, right? By kind of by not just supporting this kind of behavior, right? But actually, giving it more power by just, driving their kids into, next to a stranger's house to meet a stranger, right? I mean, sure, I'm a fan of certain people, right? And there are fans, there are super fans of people, but very rarely do, to me, it would never even occur to me to drive to someone's house, and just in the hopes that I'll be able to catch a glimpse, or, I'll be able to scream something at them. It is just way beyond creepy, right? And just a breach of privacy or something, I don't know, but yeah, parasocial relationships, and I mean that is how it happens, and celebrities have gotten into this. It mostly happens with celebrities and TikTok stars, like I said, but it's just incredibly. I mean, you see that and you kind of think, oh my god, the Gen Z is going down, but again, isn't every generation critical of the generation that went before them? It's just, that is the way it is, and you really can't do nothing about it. And every generation thinks that the younger generation is crazy, right? They're doing something nuts, and you had that with every single generation since forever, right? So maybe this is just my old man. Back in my day, we used to watch stuff on TV, that's that type of thing. But yeah, who knows, who knows? It's just, it is what it is. All right, so yeah, let's see. We have like a minute and a half. What else can I tell you in a minute and a half that's gonna just, it's gonna make your day better? I have no idea. I have no idea. Bald&Bankrupt came to Vilnius, Lithuania, which is insane, right? He met with some kind of a former Soviet enforcer, right, who is this incredible gopnik, and I really don't know how to feel about that, right? Because I really like Bald&Bankrupt, but it's just, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know in what color Lithuania will be presented in the next Bald&Bankrupt video, because it will look like it's just a gopnik state, with a lot of former Soviet things, and I don't think that is the best representation that we can get of Lithuania. So that happened. I mean, yeah, Bald&Bankrupt. I mean, the guy got really drunk, and he met some guy at a bus stop who was saying that he's an idiot. And I mean, it was just hilarious, right? He just got really wasted, and it was just really fun to look at someone who you've been watching for a while come to your country and just kind of encounter all these different all these different individuals and just these adventures, right? So that's it. Yeah, the podcast was late. That can happen, but it won't happen in a long time. So I'll see you on Wednesday. Hope you have a good week. It's mega cold, so hopefully you're snuggled in with someone and keeping yourself warm. So yeah, I'll talk to you on Wednesday. This has been the Tall Rider, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. Bye.